Hello and welcome to Matters on Ground. The average age of a Nigerian farmer today is 60 years, which will lead you to ask about youth involvement in agriculture. But with the recent price hike in food commodities, it might just be the right time to embrace agriculture, not just for food supply, but to also create employment in the agricultural sector. Our topic today is youth and agriculture. My name is Favor Ovianloba. We'll go on a quick break. We'll be right back. Thanks for staying with us. To join in this conversation today, I have my co-host Adana and a guest. Now, our guest is a fish farmer and the CEO of G.O.A. Farms. Please join me welcome Olaoye Gideon Adeoluwa. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning to you, sir.
Thank you. Okay, let's begin the conversation. Tell us a brief background about yourself and why you chose agriculture and fish farming of all sectors.
Thank you very much. My name is Gideon, as you said. The passion to go into fish farming came from the love and the participation of my father, late father, in fish farming. He started it, but it was not in a very prosperous manner because most times he's always complaining there is loss, there's no profit. So I felt like, as a law graduate, I felt like since my father could do this and is not really making progress, let me even make some research, know why the fault and all. So that was actually the basic reason why I decided to start fish farming. So far so good. It has really been a blessing because I can tell you that fish farming is a highly lucrative business once you have the knowledge. But without the knowledge, even if you have the money, if you don't have the knowledge, it's going to be a loss.
It's very interesting that you studied a professional course, law, and you still chose to go into farming. Is there any reason why you feel, okay, you're going to prosper very much in farming? And are you doing both your law? Are you, focusing on your law degree and also focusing on farming, or is it strictly farming for you?
Thank you very much for that. Like I used to say, if I'm introducing myself, I would say by way of profession, I'm a lawyer.
Yeah.
By way of entrepreneurship, I'm a fish farmer.
So you're also a practicing lawyer?
So I'm also a practicing lawyer.
Wow, interesting.
So you are the CEO of G.O.A. Farms. So tell us about the farms and how it came about.
Okay, G.O.A. Farm is a fish farm business. We are into production of catfish and tilapia, and it all started in Ife. Although I started at the backyard of my natural pond that my father was using back then, so I just put some fishes there and I tried to rear them. So, but luckily, as God will help me, when I was posted to come and serve in Edo State, there was a comprehensive challenge organized by Unity Bank, and I can say that opportunity actually brought G.O.A. Farm to the limelight. So I contested for the challenge, and I came first. So I was given a grant of 500,000
Wow.
Nice.
by Unity Bank. So it is this opportunity that helps me, that makes me to be able to establish my farm here in Benin City. I have a branch where I'm operating, and also in Osun State in Ile-Ife, I also have a natural pond there. So here in Benin City, I make use of tarpaulin and concrete ponds that I rent that we use at Benin City here, while we have a natural pond in Ile-Ife. So we are very vast in production. I'm into hatchery. I had to learn that even because of my SAID program. So I can say the NYSC really helped my career as a fish farmer.
Yeah.
Because even though I'm practicing at Lovett Osas Chambers, I also have my fish farm that I'm having operating here in Benin.
So I heard you say you were given 500,000 naira by Unity Bank, and is it the only fund that you needed to be able to establish your business here in Edo State, or did you also have savings? Because when someone wants, for example, I want to go into fish farming today, do you think 500,000 will be sufficient for me to properly establish in a new state? Because you already had in Ile-Ife and you did not, invest it in your other branch. You chose to open a new branch. So was the 500,000 totally sufficient for you?
500,000 is actually sufficient to start the business in anywhere you find yourself.
Okay.
But I have my differences. Prior to my service, I have my savings, and because of service, my allowance, I actually use it also in the business. So because as a fresh farmer, even with 300,000, you can start fish farming. It's just that the numbers of, or let me say the quantity of fish that you'll be starting with is what will be reduced. For example, with 300,000, you can start with about 300 pieces of catfish.
300 pieces, wow.
Yes. But if you are having 500,000, which you can start with 1,000 pieces. So once you have 1,000 pieces of fish, you can start with 500,000 because the cost of production is very not highly expensive. The only expensive cost of production is the feeding process because feeds now are in the high price. Okay. So that's the only thing that is selling farmers part of. Yeah. It's but with 500,000, I believe you can start.
So you've mentioned feeding now, which is one of the challenges that you encounter during fish farming. So can you give us more challenges?
Okay. Among the challenges that I faced was one, mortality rate. For every fish farmer, you must always calculate mortality with your fish. Yeah. So let's say you are expecting about to have a production of 1,000 fishes at the end of your production. Then at the stage of stocking, you have to buy about 1,005, 1,002. So you are already with the mindset that at worst, mortality will take about let's say 200 pieces or 500. So at the end, you end up having 1,000 pieces that you expected at. Because the mortality will be of two stages. One will be the ones that will die naturally. And there is a general principle of what we call cannibalism, that is fishes feeding on themselves. Wow. The bigger fishes feed on the small fish. While the small fish, if they have, and let's say you have 1,000 pieces and you have a bigger size of about 20, and you have 800 that are of equal size. Those 800 will gang up together, especially if you are late in feeding them and feed on those 20 that are So that is the.
So it's only hunger that would make another fish want to eat, the smaller fish, or are there other causes, or just probably late feeding?
Well, late feeding is part of the cost, but naturally, the way fish are created by God, there is cannibalism. Whether you feed them well or not, fish must eat another fish. So that's because that's why there is a witty saying that says fishes consume fish to become bigger. So,
now you mentioned that you got a grant to start the fish farming. What ways do you think the government can encourage the youth? Because now we're talking about youth and agriculture, and we see the prices of food items in the market. I bought one fish, it was about 1,000 plus, the ones you buy for like 500 naira before. So how do you think the government can encourage youth to go into agriculture or fish farming?
Thank you very much. I would say government has a lot to do, especially if government can imbibe the habit of grants for youth. I can tell you, I will have gone bankrupt if this grant I got from Unity Bank happens to be a loan.
Wow.
If it happens to be a loan, I will have been highly, I don't even know where I would have been right now. Because the expectation, the cost of production at the first stage, you might not actually get about 20% of your cost of production as profit margin. So you can't have 20% at the first stage. So let's say after your second production, third production, then you can have your 40% interest or 30% interest. So I think what government can do is let government institute a grant that they can give to youth who have passion for agriculture, because agriculture is actually the only sector that can really help the economy of Nigeria. So, but the issue now is most of the things we have out there are loans, and loans, but due to the high interest rate that you have to pay, even the interest rate will already take all the profits that one makes from it. So, like, okay, they instituted NYIF, but yet up to today, I even applied for the NYIF. Up to today, nothing. We are yet to see anything from them. So I believe if they can have a proactive action of grants that are really accessible, give to, and they monitor the process, I believe the Nigeria as a country will be a better place.
But apart from grants, most people, when you walk into a farm, you see, like my co-host said when she was starting, when you walk into a farm, you see elderly people. They are mostly farmers. It's very rare to see a young person like you, Mr. Gideon, own a fish farm and doing very well. Most farmers are elderly. Do you think there's enough sensitization and awareness by the government and even the Ministry of Agriculture to actually imbibe farming, the habit of farming into the youth? Because when the older ones are weak, most of their farms have to, die with them. When they die, there are no young people to actually take over. And it's not everybody that thinks the way you think. You said your dad said that and there were so many challenges. You chose to research and do better. So do you think there's enough sensitization and awareness for people that would want to have interest in farming?
Thank you very much. I think the publicity is not enough. In fact, the awareness, I can say, is not there. If I'm to rate in the range of a scale of 1 to 10,
Yeah.
I'll say just about 5 or 5.5.
Yeah.
Because right now, if not for the fact that I saw a problem that my father could not solve, and I wanted to be a solution to it, I wouldn't actually be into this business. So basically, even those who study agriculture in school, they are not really well equipped.
Yeah.
So I believe if there can be symposium, there can be conferences, there can be training to create the awareness of youth and to actually motivate youth to go into agriculture. There are different fields. They can go into fishing, they can go into piggery. There is no agricultural sector or field that you are into that is not lucrative.
Yeah.
So I believe if governments can increase their sensitization processes and they can institute things to orientate people about agriculture, I believe youth will start to develop interest in it. But because there is no much orientation for them, there is no much avenue for people to have more knowledge about agriculture. I guess that's why we have low rate of interest or participation of youth in agriculture.
Okay, now I know many people heard you talk about the challenges. You talk about cannibalism and poor funding. So how have you been able to cope as a farmer? If I want to go into fish farming and I hear you say cannibalism, obviously I'll be discouraged. But how are you able to cope and keep your business running amidst the challenges that you face?
Okay. For every problem, once you're able to identify the problem, it is solved. So now, for cannibalism, it is the best solution is immediately after a month of your feeding. Make sure you sort your fish. That is, you separate the fishes. Those ones that are bigger, take them away from the pond into another pond. So by that, you're able to solve the issue of cannibalism. But for other challenges, I would say it is consistency. One should not lose hope, because at a point where I was frustrated, I was like giving up. I just like, there's no point of giving up, because if I do, I'll be a loser. So that's why I just say, no matter the challenge anyone out there, a young farmer or even the elderly ones, no matter the challenge you are facing, just try to provide a solution and be consistent. Because once you are consistent, there will surely be good news at the end of the day.
I know people that are into poultry farming. Most times you just see chickens just die. So do you face such like disease or exposure to the wrong weather or the wrong environment or whatever it is? Does it cause that kind of thing? Because I know most people that are into poultry just wake up one morning and you had 200 healthy chickens in the night and you wake up and half they're already dead. No explanation at all. Do you face such things under fish farming, or is it just strictly under chicken farming?
No, we have it too in fish farming. It is, we have fish infection. If your pond is infected, your fishes are going to die. Especially if you are into action. Or a stage, the immunity of fish grows as or becomes stronger as you grow. For example, a fish of a day to like a month old are prone to infection and they can die. That's why most people who are into action experience a lot of it. But those who are into strictly rearing, they don't really do have a large amount of disease infection like that of poultry. So and again, to control the disease control in fish farming is easier compared to that of poultry. So most times there's no usually mass death rate, but there is consistent. For example, if you are not managing your water very well, you can be having a consistent mortality, maybe a daily rate of 5 fish, 3, 2 per day. And if you calculate that in a week, that's so
okay. We're having a conversation before, and I heard you say you have like a show, an online show where you sensitize people on fish farming. Can you tell us more about your program for people that want to go into fish farming?
Thank you very much. When I started the fish production, I felt like the Unity Bank has impacted me. And I was thinking of the way that I too can give to the public, especially the youth who don't have much knowledge. So I decided to open a YouTube channel, which is G.O.A. Fish Farm on YouTube. So on that YouTube channel, every activity from the production stage to this market stage, I upload every video on the YouTube, and I orientate people, I teach people and train people online. Since many people cannot afford coming for physical training or paying anyone for training. So I believe if one is following that channel, will be able to know all that he needs to get about fish farming.
Okay.
So how do you source for the feeding of the fishes? Those small ones, they call fingerlings, I don't know.
Yeah,
so how do you source for them?
Okay, for the fingerlings, when I started, I get my fingerlings from Emma Farm. He was the mentor that NYC brought to the camp to come and train us on fish farming. So I got my fingerlings and juvenile, I got it from him. But after I trained, he trained me on how to hash. So I personally, from my first stock, I started to rear my own broodstock, and I started the hashing. So my subsequent juveniles, I hash them myself.
Wow.
So that's how I get my fingerlings. And for the feed, any fish feed company that sells feed, we get them from them. So you just go and buy and then from them. Although we have different feed, you have the imported feed and then you have the local feed.
Okay. Yeah, we're thinking you bring some samples for us to see how the fish is, the sizes.
Some of them are on the screen.
Yeah.
So, but then you like I share some of them already.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so do you have any advice? I know you're a youth, but I know most youths can also look up to you in that aspect. Do you have any advice for any youth that want to go into agriculture, precisely fish farming?
Well, my advice to the youth is that there is opportunity out there. Don't just wait for white collar job. Like I said, I'm a lawyer, but then even though I'm practicing, I believe the only way I can make the expected income that I want is from agriculture.
Yeah.
So if you out there really want to be self-confident, I would advise you to just go into any business that you have passion for, because I would advise that you go for what you love and what you enjoy doing.
Yeah.
So for anyone, you can pick any of the, it could be agriculture, it could be any other thing. But for agriculture, believe you me, no matter the problem you are facing, there is always a solution. And there's no field you are in this life that there's no problem. So let not the problem be a source of whittling you down, but rather it should be a motivation for you to challenge the problem.
Thank you so much, Mr. Gideon. It's been an honor having you on set today, and I'm sure a lot of youths out there are inspired. Trust me, you are not too young to own your own business and to actually do very well in that segment that you choose to go into. Thank you so much for joining us today on the show. And to our viewers out there, Mr. Gideon is definitely a source of inspiration. If you want to go into anything, like he said, there will be problems, but you can always overcome. Thank you so much. We'll be back on Wednesday for Hot Stuff Wednesday. And for those of you that joined us today, we really, really appreciate you taking out your time to watch our program. Do well to follow us on all our social media platforms at TSL Nigeria TV. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, TSL Nigeria Space TV. Till we come your way again on Wednesday, do well to have a great week. I'm Wana Dana.
Stay connected to TSL Nigeria and get updates on the go all day, every day. Subscribe to our YouTube channel on TSL Nigeria Space TV and join our online family.